Story 1, Part 1. This isn't a story with answers. I'm not a journalist. I'm not a private investigator. I'm not hiding behind some anonymous Reddit handle pretending to be someone important. I'm just a guy who got too bored and ended up somewhere on the internet I probably wasn't supposed to be. I don't live in Davis, West Virginia. Never even been there. Closest I came was a long layover in Charleston after a cancelled music festival in Asheville. But that town, Davis, has been living in my head ever since I found the thread. It was buried on a private Onion site, one of those places you stumble on by accident if you're dumb enough to keep clicking. The landing page looked like Craigslist, but stripped down to almost nothing, just folders, states, towns, quiet names, no flair. One folder caught my eye. Davis WV, DISM-PDC1, 1997-2013. It didn't scream for attention. That's the trick down there. If it's flashy, it's worthless. But the plain stuff? That's where the weird lies. The folder was a dump. Raw audio logs, corrupted PDFs, half-complete memos. It looked like something from an internal police archive, except no one had bothered to delete it properly. Just left to rot on the back end of some forgotten system. I almost moved on, but then I noticed something. Nearly every 911 call about a missing person started the same way. I don't know where I am. I think I'm in some kind of ship. Please help me. That line, over and over again. I told you. I'm not trying to solve this. I'm not here to be some YouTube sleuth with a theory wall. I just want to tell you what I found, and maybe why I can't stop thinking about it. Because I don't think it's aliens. That's the crazy part. It never felt like aliens. Between 1997 and 2013, there were 15 victims. 9 were never found. 4 were found dead, ruled as exposure, suicide, or vague medical causes, and 2 came back, but not in any way that made you think they were rescued. The first one was Corey Delling. He disappeared at 16, walked back into a Walmart in Elkins a year later. No shoes, baggy jeans, a white thermal shirt 3 sizes too big, no phone, no ID. He didn't even respond to his own name. They took him to a state hospital. He stayed there for 2 months. When they transferred him to his aunt's custody, she refused to take him home. Said he didn't talk. Not just wouldn't, but couldn't. Like the words had leaked out of his brain. They had to reteach him using flashcards. I read the 2004 psychiatric memo. I wish I hadn't. Not because of what happened to him, but because of what he remembered. They found a single sentence in shaky handwriting on the back of one of his evaluation forms. We had to stay still, or the metal would move. That line shows up again, not always word for word, but versions of it. There was a girl, Chelsea Monroe, 19 years old when she vanished in 2010. Her 911 call lasted just over a minute. She told the operator, they said not to move. They said if we move, the walls won't hold. The call pinged. Somewhere in the Monongahela National Forest. But triangulation was useless. The signal died after 98 seconds. Gone. The local police called it a mental health crisis. Said maybe she'd fallen in with a cult. They even brought in a federal psychiatrist from DC, specialist in mass hysteria. His summary was just 1 page. He said the language mirrored cult grooming tactics, using metaphors like abduction to isolate victims. That would make sense, except none of the victims knew each other. No shared schools, no mutual friends, no online overlap. Nothing. Davis is small, but not that small. And always, before they disappeared, the same 911 call. Always the same image, alone. Inside something that felt like a ship. Wrong air, no exits. The second person to return was Kane Burns, 24. Her boyfriend reported her missing after she didn't return from a trip to visit her cousin in Morgantown. She vanished in the spring of 2013. 5 months later, they found her in Columbus, Ohio, sitting outside a CVS. No pants, just a huge hoodie and a hospital bracelet. The name of the hospital didn't exist. I'm not speaking metaphorically. The address led to a vape shop. Kane never said a word, not once. The doctors said it was trauma-induced dissociation. Maybe, but there was a note in her file that wasn't supposed to be there. It had been accidentally scanned in with a stack of budget forms, upside down, half-cropped. It read, "Subdermal ridge patterns on thighs do not match known accident profiles. Appears to be intentional, made with high-precision tools. Patient is nonverbal but responsive to single-tone auditory cues, possibly conditioned." That phrasing, cold, clinical, detached, like she wasn't a person anymore, just a failed experiment. After 2013, the case files stopped, or maybe the system just stopped saving them. The final file in the folder was a memo dated November 2013. The title read, "Abduction Case Group Closed." The subheading, "Internal Note, classified as Unresolved Psychosis Cluster, archived, under Behavioral Index DE112 GTI. I searched for that index. Nothing came up, not even on the Wayback Machine. I mentioned this online once, vaguely, in a thread about unsolved cases. Didn't say the town, didn't give names. Just said there was a strange cluster of 911 calls from a rural area. 5 minutes later, I got a DM. No posts, no profile picture, just a long string of letters and numbers for a username. The message said, "Don't share the audio. You can talk about the story, but not the voices." I didn't respond, didn't even feel scared. It just felt final, like someone laying down the rules of a game I didn't know I was playing. I still have the audio files. I won't share them, but I'll tell you what's in them. Piece by piece. This isn't a conspiracy theory. It's not a riddle. It's just the leftovers of something that was never supposed to be found. No answers, no resolutions, just voices, just records, just people who said one last thing before they were gone. Next, I'll tell you about Danny Tercel. He was 14, the youngest to go missing, and his call was different. He said someone else was in the ship with him, and they were counting. Part 2, his name was Danny Tercel. 14 years old. Vanished on October 9th, 2006. He wasn't a runaway, wasn't from a broken home. His parents were both school teachers, grounded people. No red flags, no warning signs. He left for school. That morning, wearing a faded pirate's hoodie and jeans with a fraying cuff. Walked the same route he always did, less than a mile. But he never arrived. Police did the usual. Canvassed neighborhoods, questioned classmates, traced his steps. The whole town joined in. They checked the woods, the creeks, even the old mill trails where teenagers went to smoke and pretend they weren't from Davis. No trace. Until exactly 7 days later, when the 911 call came in. It lasted 43 seconds. The dispatcher on duty was a woman named Carla. She'd worked in that office for 20 years, but after that call, she left the job. No public reason. Just turned in her badge and disappeared to a cabin outside Thomas. Never spoke to media. Never gave a statement. Here's what was transcribed from the recording. Dispatch 911. What's your emergency? Caller. Young male voice, trembling. I don't know where I am. I don't think I'm not home. Dispatch. What's your name, sweetie? Caller. Danny, Tercel. Dispatch. Danny, are you hurt? Caller. No, not yet. Dispatch. Can you describe where you are? Caller. It's cold. It's metal. There are grooves. I'm not alone. There's a pause. Breathing. Whispering. Dispatch. Danny, what do you mean you're not alone? Caller. Someone's behind the wall. I can hear them. They're counting. Another pause. This one longer. Caller. He's counting the parts. I think it's for me. The call ended with a sound, not a scream, not static, just a low mechanical hum, like a power source winding down. And then silence. They pinged it near a radio tower outside Laneville. Search teams were there within hours. Nothing. No Danny. No prints. No broken brush. Just untouched forest and the quiet hum of wind through rusted fencing. There's a picture of Danny taken a month before he disappeared. He's holding a golden retriever puppy, grinning at the camera with crooked teeth and a chipped front tooth from a skateboarding fall. In the police file, there's a note scrawled by hand across the bottom corner of the photo. No voice print. Match. Audio sample doesn't register as biological. That's the part that still gives me chills. The voice in the recording. They weren't even sure it was human. You know what's worse? Danny wasn't the only one who mentioned counting. Carla. Voss, missing 2001, never found. Her mother reported hearing her whisper, 3, 4, 5, before the line cut out. Randy Tobler, missing 1999. 911 call cut off mid-sentence. He says when he gets to 10, I won't come back. It wasn't just hallucination. It wasn't just madness. There was something, or someone, on the other side of those walls, and it was counting. No ransom, no demands, no evidence. Just a list of missing people who described the same thing. A space that didn't feel real. A place that whispered. And something waiting behind the metal. In 2014, a freelance journalist named Ben Harker wrote a blog post about Davis after stumbling onto a tip about acoustic anomalies in the forest. He claimed he picked up a faint pattern on a handheld scanner near a collapsed mine shaft. He said it sounded like code, numbers, counted over and over again. The post was deleted within 24 hours. His site vanished. No cached version, no archive, but someone saved it. I saw a screenshot floating around on an old conspiracy forum. Numbers being counted. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the audio skips, restarts, always back to 1. Like it's practicing, like it's waiting for the real thing. I've tried not to obsess. I really have. I don't even know what I'm hoping to find anymore. Maybe there's nothing to find. Just fragments, digital ash. But sometimes I lie in bed and think about Danny, 14 years old, cold, terrified, somewhere inside a machine, or something worse, counting down toward a fate he couldn't understand. And I wonder, what number are they on now? Part 3I tried to step away from the folder. I really did. Closed the files, shut the laptop, went for a long walk through town. The streets were quiet, overgrown in places, like Davis itself was trying to forget. I passed the old high school, now boarded up and tagged with the usual graffiti. But when I got home, the folder was still there. Not just on my desktop, but printed. That's the part that scared me the most. I don't own a printer. The pages were laid out on my desk in perfect order. Crisp, fresh paper. On top of the stack, a sticky note in my own handwriting. Only, I never wrote it. Finish reading. Before 10. I checked the clock. 8:52 p.m. That feeling, it's hard to describe. Like time had warped. Like I'd been watched. Not in the paranoid, someone's following me way. No, this was deeper. Like something already knew me. Like something had planned for me to find the Davis folder. And now, it was giving me a deadline. I sat down. I kept reading. There was one more case in the folder I hadn't noticed before. A thin manila sleeve tucked in the very back, as if whoever compiled it wanted me to find it last. It was labeled in thick black marker, Annie G. Last entry, Annie Garver. Age 32, EMT. She disappeared during a routine overnight call in February of 2012. It was a simple transport. Elderly patient from Davis Clinic to a care home in Elkins. Clear roads, clear weather, no traffic. Annie's partner, a guy named Morris, said she got out to check a noise near the tree line at a gas station stop. Something metal dragging across pavement. He waited in the ambulance. She never came back. When police checked surveillance footage, they found something odd. Annie did walk toward the tree line. She paused, turned around, looked straight into the camera. Then she smiled. Not scared, not confused, just a soft, knowing smile. And then the feed cut out. Literally, the footage is corrupted from that point forward. The next available frame is 12 minutes later. Morris is still in the ambulance, staring at his phone. Annie is gone. You know what's strange? That corrupted video file. It's in the Davis folder too. I opened it. My screen went black for a moment. Then the file played, but it wasn't the gas station footage. It was a room, a small, dark, metallic room with curved corners and no windows, no furniture, just a faint, rhythmic flicker from the ceiling, like a dying fluorescent bulb. The only thing in the room, a wall, a smooth silver panel covered in tally marks, hundreds of them, and beneath it, a small dark hole. I stared at that hole for what felt like hours. The camera didn't move, no cuts, no sound. But then, at 9 minutes and 12 seconds, something leaned into view. Just a shape at first, slender, unnaturally tall, skin like smoothed wax stretched over wire. It didn't speak, it didn't blink. It just began to press one long, needle-thin finger against the wall. 1, 2, 3. Each touch left a new tally mark, and then it turned its head, slowly, toward the camera, toward me. I slammed the laptop shut. My heart was in my throat. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. When I opened the laptop again, the video was gone, deleted, recycle bin empty, no trace of it on the hard drive. But you want to hear the part that really messed me up? The tally marks are in my notebook now. My real physical notebook. The one I use for errands, for grocery lists, for dumb sketches. They weren't there this morning, but now, 17 tiny hash marks etched into the bottom corner of the last page, and under them, in small faint pencil, are 2 words, "You're next." Final part that night, I didn't sleep. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that room, the smooth metallic walls, the flickering light, the hole that looked like it could swallow sound itself, and above it all, that thing, that shape. It wasn't human. Not anymore. I stayed on my couch until morning, blinds shut, every light in the apartment on. I kept checking the time. 10 p.m. came and went. Nothing happened. No knock at the door. No whisper in the dark. Just silence. But it didn't feel like relief. It felt like the beginning of something. The next morning, I tried deleting the Davis folder, dragged it to the trash, emptied the bin, ran cleanup software, even reset the damn laptop. But every time I booted it back up, there it was. Davis folder final. Each time, the name changed slightly. Davis folder final, real Davis folder, this one. Davis folder open methi. Files inside kept updating. New images, new PDFs. A distorted audio clip with static and a faint voice whispering what sounded like coordinates. I traced them on Google Maps. It led me back to Davis, specifically the woods behind the old clinic. I drove there, like an idiot, like something was pulling me by the spine. It was cold, and the woods were quieter than they should have been. No birds, no wind, just that kind of oppressive stillness that pushes in on your ears. I followed the GPS until the signal died. Then I just walked, and I found it. A clearing, roughly 20 feet across, surrounded by trees stripped bare like something had scorched the leaves off. In the center was a metal hatch, half buried in the dirt and covered in handprints. Small ones, child-sized. I didn't open it. I don't know if I could have. It felt wrong, like touching it would change me, like my reflection would never match again. I turned and ran, back to the car, back to the road. But as I reached the edge of the woods, I saw it again. The shape from the video, far off, still, watching. Its head tilted at a sick angle, like it couldn't quite understand how I was still here, how I hadn't already joined the others. I left Davis that day and never looked back. I changed laptops, changed apartments, even changed my name on paper. But it doesn't matter. Last night, I woke up to my printer. Again, I don't own one, spitting out a single sheet of paper. On it were 18 tally marks, and underneath them, in that same faint pencil, almost time. I don't know what I've let in. I don't know how long I have left. But if you're hearing this, and you ever come across a folder called Davis folder on your computer, don't open it. Don't read it. And whatever you do, don't go looking for the clearing. Because once you find it, it finds you back.